Harold. Alfred and Tom had the same daily routine. They were both farmers that lived up in a hill, isolated from society, pretty much. Every morning they would milk the cows, feed them, and then every night they would bring them back inside. One night, Alfred said, "Dude, this shit is getting freaking boring." And then he said, "You know what? I have an idea. Why don't we make a doll the size of a man?" Tom replied, "Why the fuck would we do that?" And Alfred said, "Oh, you know." So they grabbed a bunch of hay, a bunch of straws, and made a scarecrow. And they decided to call it Harold. Harold was someone that they used to have threesomes with. So they made the puppet out of straws, hay, and other bullshit that I don't even freaking know, whatever. And they, of course, gave it Harold's name. Every morning, they would bring it outside to scare away the crows, and then every night, they would bring it in to do, I don't know, like weird shit. And then one day, Tom ran into the room to see Alfred with Harold. And he was like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing?" And Alfred said, nothing. And then he was like, "Alright, whatever, I don't give a fuck." But they noticed something the very next week. Harold grunted. And they said, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "No, I'm on meth right now." "What did you hear?" He said, "He grunted. I just heard him." And he's like, "Are you sure you're not on meth right now?" And then he replied, "Dude, shut the fuck up. Let's just watch him." And so they watched him and watched him. But in the end, they decided that, they were probably just strung out on drugs and heard something. So they continued their daily routine. They would take Harold outside to scare away the crows, and then they would bring him back inside to do, who knows what. However, this particular night, he noticed something. Alfred noticed that Harold was growing in height. And he told Tom, "Hey, are you noticing what I'm noticing?" And Tom was like, "Dude, I'm on the freaking computer, doing something that's none of your business. Okay, just talk to me later, okay?" But the very next night, Harold stood up and climbed into the roof and was dancing like he was in the show of like Roop's drag, whatever you call it, the drag show, whatever. And they both freaked out. They decided to leave. And then Tom was like, "Oh my god, we forgot the milking stools." And then Alfred replied, "How the hell did you forget it, you stupid dumb shit?" And he's like, "Alright, well, one of us has to go back and get them because we're freaking broke and those are expensive." So they did eeny miny mo to see who would go, and it was Alfred. So Tom was like, "Alright, you go. I'm gonna wait here for you. Alright, but just don't take so long because I'm freaking hungry. And there's a restaurant like not too far from here." So Tom waited and waited and waited, and Alfred never came back. So he decided to go over back to the hut to see what was going on. And he watched in horror. The scarecrow was up on the roof. However, Alfred was doing it. All of a sudden, Tom was like, all right, this relationship isn't gonna work anymore. I mean, we had some good times like in the bed, but yeah, no, this is too much.